Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening, my YouTube family. Thursday, y'all, January 28th. Gosh, y'all, it's almost over. January is almost over. I am Tamara Johnson Shealy, and of course, we are keeping up with Congress. Keeping up with Congress, y'all. Like, share, like, share. Please spread the word about this broadcast. I'm excited about this because we have literally been able to keep up with these bills as they have been introduced. Nothing's going to get past us, y'all. We are not missing a beat. So again, I am Tamara Johnson Shealy. Please like, please like, please like, please share, spread the word. And let's continue to keep up with Congress because we are holding them accountable, y'all. We can't just go to the polls, show up and vote. No, no, no. We got to make sure that we know exactly what they're doing when we send them there. We got to have receipts. So we're looking for opportunities. We want to know where the money is, who is it going to, and how do we get some of it, right? Keeping up with Congress. Like and share. Let's get this party started. Let me share my screen. All right, all right. Of course, this is brought to you Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern to 7:30 p.m. Eastern by Withhold the Vote. Withhold the Vote, where we are holding our elected officials and our candidates accountable. Withhold the vote. We are not playing. This is where we're going to have our receipts. We know what's coming down the pipe. We've been keeping up with Congress, so we know what they're doing. We know what they're not doing. We're going to hold them accountable. 2022 is right around the corner. Primary elections will be early in the spring of next year. Let's collect our receipts, y'all. All right. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. So I wanted to bring to you an article. This article is about the pilot project gives Black business owners monthly money with no strings attached. Now, look, help, resources, support with no strings attached to Black business. I thought this was a phenomenal article, so I wanted to bring this to you. We've seen cities across the country testing or talking about guaranteed income programs where people get money with no strings attached. One pilot program is now seeing success using a similar model to help Black business owners and address the structural racism they have experienced. It says sometimes it's the smallest amount of money, just like we realized here. The difference between those businesses closing and them staying afloat was $1,000 a month. It was a small amount of money, but what we did as a lender, which was really unique, was look holistically at this and say it mattered to us to see those businesses in our portfolio survive. This is from the founder of Runway, a firm behind the money going to Black businesses. Runway gave companies in Oakland and Boston $1,000 a month with no strings attached. Y'all, take advantage of this. Along with the money, they also receive business, mental, and emotional support. To have somebody come in and say, don't stress right now, we've got you. We'll figure this out together because we're all trying to figure this out. I think that's the difference in the kind of money that we're talking about, and hopefully the kind of money I want to see everybody talking about, said Norwood. Supporting Black businesses with no strings attached. This is an amazing project. Runway is runway.family. So I don't know who they are or what this is, but definitely Google it. Runway, supporting small Black businesses with resources, with monies, with no strings attached. I think this is phenomenal because Black people come to the table with uniqueness, may not have the strong credit, may not have capital, may not have, anything, but great ideas. They have a small business. I think this is a phenomenal approach. So definitely research this. Runway for small Black businesses with no strings attached, support with no strings attached. Another article that I thought was quite interesting, the mirage of the Black middle class. Exactly. It's an illusion, y'all. It's an illusion. Some of us, quote unquote, think we made it. We haven't. Home ownership, and goes as a pretty lengthy article, but it was talking about home ownership, and I just wanted to bring you one paragraph of it. But it says, home ownership was and remains the beating heart of wealth accumulation for American middle class. Our society privileges homeowners in everything from the tax code to the availability of home equity lines to membership requirements for neighborhood associations. You buy a place, that place grows in value, and either you trade up to a bigger place or keep it until you can pass it down to your kids, or your kids get the money from its sale. Stability gives birth to even more stability. Yes, home ownership. When I hear these buzzwords in Congress and in some of these elected officials and candidates that talk about affordable housing, no, home ownership. People need to own their homes. They need land. They need to own that real estate. Not affordable housing. That means if I got some place to work and I can pay my bills and I'll have some place to stay. No, I need to be able to pass on wherever I live to the next generation, and they can pass it on to the next generation. They don't say that. It's all about affordable housing. No, home ownership. So let's keep up with Congress, y'all. Let's dive into these Senate bills. Like I said, I'm excited because for the last 3 weeks, I have brought you bills, and we are like, as these bills have been introduced, you are knowing in real time. So Senate Bill 45 is to amend the Elementary and Secondary Education Act of 1965 to strengthen school security. I actually was watching a program just the other night and was talking about resource officers in our schools and how some children are afraid of these cops and these officers. And we've seen how some of these students have been roughed up by some of these resource officers in the school. So this is a bill to amend the Elementary and Secondary School Act of 1965 to strengthen school security. So that's a conversation we need to, definitely have a voice in. Senate Bill 45. Senate Bill 47, a bill to require software marketplace operators and owners of a covered foreign software to provide consumers with a warning prior to the download of such software to establish consumer data protection. I believe this probably came from TikTok. This is just me kind of guessing. TikTok was this is an app. It's so popular with the young people, and they were downloading this app. But I believe TikTok was owned by China or definitely some foreign country. So yeah, we do want to be mindful of how we are downloading these apps and giving these apps access to our phones, which has a lot of our data, it has all your contacts. Some of you use it as, I saw a guy use his phone, to tap the ATM machine. So his debit card is stored in his cell phone. So you got to be mindful that when you are allowing these apps that you think are fun and cute to be downloaded to your phone, that app now has access to your personal information. And it has a locator on it. It's they know where you are with these phones. So be mindful. I pay attention to this because, again, I told you my degree is in information systems. So I understand computers and coding and software and data. So I understand the magnitude of this. So we definitely have to pay attention. So this is Senate Bill 47, everybody. Senate Bill 49, a bill to prohibit the Bureau of Consumer Financial Protection from overseeing lending institutions' participation in the Paycheck Protection Program. I thought this one was interesting. A bill to prohibit the Bureau of Consumer Financial Protection from overseeing the lending institutions' participation in the PPP program, right? So here, and I had to look this up. I'm like, what is this agency? So this Consumer Financial Protection, this agency our work includes rooting out unfair, deceptive, or abusive acts or practices by writing rules, supervising companies, and enforcing laws that outlaw discrimination in consumer finance and taking consumer complaints. So I'm like, why would you not want this kind of oversight? We have to be mindful. Legislators that don't want oversight, that didn't sit well with me. Senator Lee, Republican out of Utah. Why would you not want some oversight with how this money and the consumers? I want oversight. Senate Bill 49, y'all. Let's pay attention to these legislators and why, and ask the questions. Why? Senate Bill 51 is a bill to provide for the admission of the state of Washington, D.C. into the Union. You know, D.C., the whole statehood with D.C., y'all, it's been, a long time in the making. This is, no representation, no taxation without representation over in D.C. So, yeah, we're keeping our eye on what's going on with the statehood and allowing Washington, D.C. into the Union. Senate Bill 51. Senate Bill 52, a bill to establish a career pathway grant program. And I chose this particular bill because it's amazing to me, like I said, the vagueness of some of these bills and this legislation, just how vague they are. You don't know. A bill to establish a career pathway grant program. This is sounds like a pool of money. What are we doing here? Senator Hassan out of New Hampshire. Vague. Senate 52, Senate Bill 52. Senate Bill 53 is a bill to provide for increases in the federal minimum wage. Bernie Sanders. The increase in the federal minimum wage, y'all. Senate Bill 54 is a bill to address health, workforce shortages, and disparities highlighted by the COVID-19 pandemic through additional funding for the National Health Service Corps and the Nurse Corps, and to establish a National Health Service Corps Emergency Service Demonstration Project. I always look for opportunities in healthcare. I told you there's 4 areas where I find the most interest: food, air, water, and land. Food, air, water, and land. We're going to keep our eyes on Congress, y'all. Senate Bill 54. Senate Bill 55 is a bill to repeal the provision of law that provides automatic pay adjustments for members of Congress. So what kind of automatic pay adjustments are they getting? Now they're getting these nice salaries, right? We're clear. They are paid more than enough. So what kind of pay adjustments are they getting? Follow the money. Follow the money. Senator Scott out of Florida wants to repeal the provision of law that provides automatic payments. Yeah, I want to repeal it too. Y'all got enough. Give it to the American people. Senate Bill 55, y'all. And that's the end of the Senate bills, guys. All the Senate bills that have been introduced thus far in this 117th Congress, we are on it, doggone it. We know it. We've talked about them. If you've missed any of these broadcasts, please go back and watch and catch up. But we are keeping up with Congress, and we've talked about the bills that are just really specific, the ones we really needed to point out, where we're bringing it to you in real time. So you again go to the website, join us, be a part of what we're doing. Withholdthevote.org, withholdthevote.org, y'all. So let's dive into the House bills. House HR 452 is to amend the Violence Against Women Act of 2000 to reauthorize the grant program for education, training, and enhanced services to end violence against and abuse of women and with disabilities. So yes, this is where those of you that have, nonprofits, or you're working in organizations where you're addressing domestic violence, there's monies coming, some grant programs for education and training, enhanced services. There's the money, y'all. There's the money. We're going to keep up with Congress. Thank you for joining me. HR 52, y'all. HR 53 is to deny federal funding to any state or political subdivision of a state that has in effect any law, policy, or procedure that prevents or impedes a state or local law enforcement official from maintaining custody of an alien pursuant to an immigrant detainer issued by the Secretary of Homeland Security. I was asked to make sure that we have some immigration. There's a lot that I'm seeing. I'm seeing immigration, a lot of immigration legislation, y'all. We've been talking about it. National security, there's gun legislation, and, you know, just accountability legislation, like what we just saw a second ago with those with the monies that these congressional members are getting. So yes, you know, this is about these sanctuary cities, right? You know, they're making sure that the immigrants when they're detained, they're not let me read it again. To deny federal funding to any state or political subdivision of a state that has in effect any law, policy, or procedure that prevents or impedes a state or local law enforcement official from maintaining custody of an alien pursuant to an immigration detainer issued by the Secretary of Homeland Security. Let's keep our eyes on this immigration policy, y'all. HR 453. One thing I learned as a law student, I took an citizenship and immigration course, and they made it real clear in this first course that we were not going to grasp the magnitude of what is happening with immigration. HR 453 is an example of that. It's a lot. HR 455 is to permanently prohibit oil and gas leasing off the coast of the state of California. Again, I told you I take special interest in food and air and water and land. And something is going on with California. You know, is it the drilling that has now affected the land? Has it affected the water? Like, there's a reason why no longer they want to prohibit oil and gas leasing off the coast of the state of California. Let's pay attention, y'all. What kind of damage has been done? That would be the question I would ask. What's the damage? Why are y'all now wanting to stop? Keeping up with Congress, y'all. HR 457 is to prohibit executive agencies from using the derogatory term alien to refer to an individual who is not a citizen or a national of the United States. Yeah. And we use the word at some point, you know, these are immigrants. We don't, you know, alien, it does sound quite derogatory. So HR 457. HR 458 to require investigations and reports regarding individuals who died in the custody of certain federal authorities. Yeah, oversight, accountability. What happened to these people? HR 458 that was introduced by Representative Castro out of Texas. Good legislation. HR 459 to amend Title 18 United States Code to prohibit former members and elected officers of Congress from lobbying Congress at any time after leaving office. Heck, say it. After they leave office, no, do not come back and lobby. Oh, we gotta keep our eyes on Congress, y'all. HR 459. HR 46, One Bill, One Subject Transparency Act. And this is what I was talking about, the accountability. I mean, I'm gonna tell you, I've already been told that there's probably gonna be well over like 10,000 pieces of legislation, like that'll come through Congress. Y'all, that is a lot of bills. It's a lot with you know, 435 members in the House, and you got your 100 members over in the Senate. That's a lot of bills to come through. So to have this kind of legislation that says one bill, one subject, Transparency Act, is streamlining the process. And I know that's a Republican buzzword. A lot of people don't like that word streamline if you're a Democrat, but I mean, it is. It's streamlining the process. It's, you know, you have all these bills that really duplicate themselves. Why not have one bill, one subject, and y'all work together, right? HR 46. HR 462 to establish new zip codes for certain communities. What? So we want to establish new zip codes for certain communities. I don't know a whole lot about how zip codes work. And, you know, is it some cap on how many homes or residences you can have within a zip code? So why are we going to establish new zip codes? You know, I think about redlining and how they use those zip codes to, you know, keep certain people out and allow certain people in. So when I see this, it kind of triggers me to thinking about redlining. So are you going to create these new zip codes with this new, what is this? I don't want to assume. And this is why we get behind the scenes and do the work. Let's see. She says zip codes increase insurance rates in black areas. Yeah. So now what is this about? Like, what is this about? Why do they want to create these new zip codes? What are they trying to get away from? Who knows? But this is the kind of work we do behind the scenes at Withhold the Vote. We have our meetings, everybody, on Wednesday evenings at 7:30 Eastern. And we have another meeting on Saturdays at 2:30 Eastern. And you don't have to attend both. As a gatekeeper, you don't have to attend both. We talk about this duplicate information, but we're, like I said, we're keeping up with Congress, and we're focusing on, you know, what's going on, of course, with HR 40 and S40. We talked about S40 being introduced now by Cory Booker. We're gonna watch marijuana legislation, because how dare you legalize it and not decriminalize it? The policing that's happening, police reform. We're keeping our eyes on Congress, y'all. So this is HR 462 with these zip codes. HR 463 is to amend Title 23 United States Code to provide a set aside for transportation alternatives. And I thought this was a piece of an interesting piece of legislation, because who are these set asides for? Now, are they set asides for big business? Who are these set asides for? Is it who? Is it for everyday people who have to have alternatives to transportation? Maybe you live in a, you know, you need a train service, you need more buses. So is that alternative transportation for the people, or is this set aside for big business? These are the questions that we have to ask, and we want answers to. So that's HR 463. HR 465 is to amend the Richard B. Russell National School Lunch Act to require a school food authority to make publicly available any waiver of the Buy American requirement. Buy American. So what are you feeding our children? So this is to amend the School Lunch Act to require a school food authority to make publicly available any waiver of the Buy American requirement. So what are you? What are you feeding us? Again, I tell you, food, air, water, and land. Let's keep our eyes on it. She says gentrification, whites don't want higher rates. Those zip codes, yeah. Keeping our eyes on Congress, everybody. HR 467 to amend the Families First Coronavirus Response Act and CARES Act to require group health plans and health insurance issuers offering group or individual health insurance coverage to provide coverage without cost sharing of certain COVID-19 antibody treatments. And I really thought this was interesting, because if we can, you know, they're pushing the vaccine, you're pushing the vaccine, but what about the antibodies that are now in a lot of people who've had COVID and they beat it? What about the antibodies that they have? Why aren't we exploring more of that as a treatment versus the vaccine? Something to think about, right? Yes, something to think about. Why push the vaccine when those that now have, you know, who've had it, they got antibodies? Why not explore more of that kind of treatment? HR 467, keeping an eye on Congress, keeping an eye on COVID. HR 470 to withhold the salaries of members of Congress upon failure to agree to a budget resolution. Heck yeah, if they can't agree on a budget, they don't need to get paid. HR 470. HR 472, okay, to reduce the size of the seat of the government of the United States to the area comprised of the principal federal monuments, the White House, the United States Capitol, the United States Supreme Court building, and the federal executive, legislative, and judicial office buildings located adjacent to the mall and the United States Capitol to provide for the retrocession of the remaining of the District of Columbia to the state of Maryland. So y'all don't want to give DC statehood, but you want to give DC to Maryland? I'm confused. So you don't want to give it to, I'm confused, y'all. This is where we have to ask the right questions, because DC is, there's been pushed, we just saw it. DC wants statehood, but you're going to give it to Maryland and not create DC as a state? Okay, Washington. Keeping up with Congress, y'all. We're keeping up with Congress. HR 472. HR 478. To direct the Secretary of the Interior to take certain land, here we go with the land, y'all, to take certain land located in Pinal County, Arizona, into a trust for the benefit of the Gila River Indian community. So why do you have to take it and put it in a trust for the community? Why can't you just give this to the people? Keeping our eye on Congress, y'all. I want to understand, why do we take the land, direct the Secretary of the Interior to take certain land into a trust for the benefit of the Gila River Indian community? Give it to the people. Keeping our eyes on Congress, y'all. HR 478. I think I missed one. Okay, HR 481. Let me pull it up, y'all. There it is. HR 481. To safeguard taxpayer resources and strengthen the nation's resilience against severe storms and flooding. There's our water, y'all. Water. Keeping our eyes on Congress. HR 481. Wait 1 second. I'm sorry. I thought I had them all pulled up today. HR 483 to amend the Omnibus Crime Control and Safe Streets Act of 1968 to make reforms to the benefits for public service officers. So I've never heard of the Omnibus Crime Control and Safe Streets Act of 1968. So I looked it up, and in the late 1960s, the late 1960s were years of great social and political upheaval in the United States. Crime policy reflected struggle over race and poverty, perhaps most clearly in the Omnibus Crime Control and Safety Street Act of 1968. This legislation bears the marks of divergent visions of the cause and cures of crime in America. Now, this is where we got to study with, the 60s was such a turbulent time. So for us now to be adding, who is this? What legislators? A Democrat, Ruiz out of California, to amend this Omnibus Crime Control and Safety Street Act of 1968 to make reforms to the benefits for public service officers. I want to understand what this is. This kind of falls into our policing. I really want to understand this one. HR 483. I looked it up, and I think there's some historical implications that I don't know, that would require some research, because it was such a turbulent time. So for us to, I'm concerned about this one. HR 483, it might be good legislation, but this is where we get behind the scenes, we withhold the vote, and we figure it out. Let me put a little note to come back to this one. Keeping our eyes on Congress. HR 484 to prohibit the use of federal funds for the commemoration of certain former presidents. Heck yeah, stop you. They're gone. They're gone. Why do we have to spend our federal money to commemorate? I can't even imagine the amount of money that's probably spent on such an event, right? The food, all the, what it takes to plan such thing. Why? What? No, they're gone. They're gone. HR 484. HR 491 to direct the administrator of the Environmental Protection Agency to establish a California New River Restoration Program to build on and help coordinate funding for restoration and protection efforts relating to the New River and other purposes. Again, I just like I say, food, air, water, and land. Keeping our eyes on Congress, y'all. Keeping our eyes on Congress. We made it, y'all. We're at the half hour. And guess what? We have gone through every single bill. There's no more new bills after what I've shown you tonight. So over the last 3 weeks, I feel very accomplished because I'm like, we are really keeping up with Congress in real time, real time. So she says, wasteful spending. Yep, wasteful spending. Absolutely. So, but we've been keeping up with Congress. We are, this has been, it's been good. So next week when we come, it'll be brand new bills that are just being introduced. Because as of today, there's nothing else. We've been keeping up with Congress. So this is where we hold our elected officials accountable. This is where we harness our political power. I am Tamara Johnson Shealy. Please, y'all, become a supporter. Join the movement. It's one thing to go to the polls and vote, but we must hold our candidates who are now our elected officials accountable to those votes. What are you doing? We sent you there. What are you doing? I've been waiting, honestly, to see what is coming down the pike with John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. Nothing. I need you to put your name on something day one. So if you knew why you were going there, you would have a bill ready to rock and roll. What? I'm confused. But I'm still getting emails asking for money. Continue to donate for what? Pay attention, y'all. Follow the money. I am Tamara Johnson Shealy. Thank you for joining me tonight. Please share these videos. Please like, please share, spread the word about Withhold the Vote. Join us and be a part of what we're doing. I will see you guys Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern, right back here on YouTube. Have a good weekend, everybody.